Now, from Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey. He's the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Chairman, grateful for your time on this important day. The president's going to speak a little over 50 minutes from now. I'm going to assume the White House has reached out to the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee and told him, given him a heads up of what sanctions are coming. Are they going to be tough enough to satisfy your test?
Well, John, I look forward to what the president has to say. I think they need to be severe sanctions. I think we can stop equivocating as to whether we have an invasion or not. I think the West, the United States, has to make it very clear to Putin that the consequences begin now. And for me, that means taking, for example, the waivers off on Nord Stream, so that's definitely dead. It means sanctioning Russian banks. It means sanctioning Russian oligarchs that are holding Putin's monies. It also means sanctioning Russian sovereign debt. Those are just some of the beginning salvos that I think need to be done, and I hope it will be done multilaterally, because unless the West this time acts resolutely, strongly, and decisively, we will have repeats of 2008 and 2014 with Putin.
Right, and that this time is key in the sense that, Putin can look at the map and he keeps taking bites of the apple, bites of other people's land, and getting away with it. And so he thinks, I'm going to get away with it again. They won't have the patience to hold out. A couple questions on that point. To one, you just heard Caitlin Collins saying there's a debate inside the White House. Do you do a giant package now, or do you do an aggressive package now but save a few things? So you tell Putin, if you go any further, there will be addition. Do you think they should just put the whole package on him now? That you say you have crossed the line. It's not an issue of just the separatist areas. You're done. Big package, or hold something?
Well, I think you should use the overwhelming amount of it now. You may reserve something like what I call the mother of all sanctions, unplugging Russia from the SWIFT, the financial system. But at the end of the day, when is it that we're going to be clear to Putin that there are severe consequences for what you do when he takes the bite after this bite? I mean, we've even forgotten that for the most part, he's overtaken Belarus already. Right. It may have been on the quote-unquote invitation of Belarus's president, but he's taken over Belarus. And so the bottom line is you need to be overwhelming in the response so that at the end of the day, he understands there's real consequences. Otherwise, he will continue to calibrate in a way that he thinks he can get away with.
You heard our reporters, Nick Roberts in Moscow, saying they haven't sent any new troops in to those separatist areas as yet. Matthew Chance reporting from Kyiv, there have been movement of some vehicles around. You have access to intelligence that we don't get to see. Are there more Russian troops across the border in Ukraine today than there were yesterday?
Well, I can't talk about intelligence, but I will say this. I am convinced that there are more Russian forces today than there were yesterday. And we have to stop with playing with the idea that irregular forces, those that may not have the Russian patch on them, ultimately means they're not Russian. They are. And at the end of the day, it's been very clear. Putin has told the world what he's going to do. He's told them he's going to recognize these areas. That next thing is annexation of these areas, and then he's going to do that by force. I don't know what we need to wait for. What we can have here is another Munich moment. And the West has to decide whether it's going to allow a march where more and more European land is going to be taken over by force, or whether the West is going to stand up to Putin.
And let's stick there and then expand the context, if you will. The NATO Secretary General today saying he views this as the greatest security moment in a generation. This is not just about Putin trying to reestablish, the great mother Russia as he sees it in his mind, but President Xi is watching as well. And there are many people around the world who think what happens here, what happens in the next days, weeks, and months in this showdown with Putin over Ukraine could affect the future of Taiwan and other places as well, right?
That's a great point, John. Absolutely. Look, I have always said that authoritarian leaders in different parts of the world look at what the United States, Europe, and the West does. Does it respond meekly or does it respond, powerfully? When it responds meekly, then it emboldens authoritarian figures in the world like Xi and Taiwan, or the situation in Iran, or so many other places here in our own hemisphere. The bottom line is they're going to be looking and saying, this is the way the United States responds. This is the way that Europe responds. This is the way EU responds. Well, then I can get away with it and I can sustain myself despite whatever they do, because what they do is not significant enough. And that's what the real question is here. First and foremost, as it relates to Ukraine and Europe, but it is a global impact as well.
We'll wait to see what the president has to say at the top of the hour on this important day. Grateful. Senator Bob Menendez, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Grateful.